What would happen if there was no friction? When we hear about friction, we remember it as an evil thing that makes our life harder. Maybe many of us wish there was no friction, but friction is an angel that we need, because if there was no friction, life wouldn't be possible. But what is special about friction, and how does it work? Friction is a type of contact force that acts against motion. There are two forms of friction, static and kinetic. In a microscopic view, friction is really complicated, and we don't know exactly what is happening. But experiments show that friction obeys this formula. F is equal to mu n. Here, n is the normal force, and mu is a coefficient related to the materials of the surfaces. Static friction happens when an object is at rest. If enough force isn't applied, static friction and your force will be equal, so the object will not move. Also, kinetic friction happens when an object is in motion. Every surface has its own unique coefficient, and its amount is formed through experiments. The maximum static friction is always greater than kinetic friction, which is why we need to apply more force when the object is stationary than when it is moving. Two factors contribute to friction. Firstly, surfaces of different bodies have significant roughness, similar to mountains. When these bodies move against each other, the roughness becomes entangled, causing resistance. Secondly, every surface is made of a lot of molecules. When molecules from different surfaces come into contact, they can interact and bond, resulting in a phenomenon known as cold welding. Sometimes the cold weld is so strong that it is impossible to separate the objects. One interesting aspect of friction is that we find no relation between surface size and friction, meaning it is not dependent on the surface area. Imagine we have a large and a small box with the exact same weight and substance. One might assume that the bigger box would experience more friction, but experiments have shown that both boxes experience the same amount of friction, which is quite odd. Maybe friction can be annoying, but we really need it. Without friction, life wouldn't be possible. Nails would come out, cars wouldn't move, houses would collapse, and so many other things. Instead of wishing for friction to disappear, we have to find a way to make the most of it or use it to our advantage. So, we should work smarter, not harder.